to Reddit on Reddit, the internet's auditory version of Reddit. I'm Nelson Allingham, joined by Michael Campbell.
Nelson, I have a very important question, and I think it is important for the listeners to be aware of as well, in case it affects the show. During the theme song, just then, that very moment, did you just burn your tongue on your tea?
It was very close to it.
Yeah, because you took the gentle sip quietly, because obviously you don't want to edit out our speaking during the theme song. And then you did kind of recoil for a bit, and then kind of like you did that thing when you burn your tongue, which is you stick it out a bit. You go, no.
Yeah. I've done that, but it's okay.
But that solved it.
But if I slowly start talking like this, you know what happened. Campbell, New Year, new us,
New Year, new us.
The same us.
Yeah. Well,
joke's on you, listener.
Also, technically, this is our second outing in the new year because we had our special episode.
Oh, yeah, which we definitely recorded on New Year's Day.
New Year's Day.
Yeah.
We'd never cynically pre-record something like that.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Cambo, just to recap, what was your highlight of New Year's Eve?
A highlight of New Year's Eve, we had a smoked pork. Mm-hmm. So probably, I'd say maybe that.
That's weird. That was the worst part of the night, I thought. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we spent it together.
Yeah. That's true.
And then we recorded the podcast the next day.
Yeah, that's right. Look, I just wanted to know as well, perhaps, Camber, if you had any New Year's resolutions.
No, I think we discussed this on that very night. We went over, like, we kind of, the arbitrary thing, what's your resolution?
Yeah.
And I think I said I just don't have any because this year was so unmotivating that I didn't even think about improving myself in any way.
Don't you think that should be extra motivating?
You would think. And maybe if I were a better person, it would work out that way. Like, I think it says more about me than anything.
Yeah. What? We need to get to the bottom of this, Cambo. You're basically saying, I'm going to summarize how you feel to the listeners. You feel like you're better than the listeners in a way because you are a perfect human being. And there's not one quality that you need to improve, perfect on.
No, what I'd say it is similar to the Shawshank Redemption. You can become institutionalized and you can't change anymore. I'm that of bad habits.
Liberal use of the word institutionalized. Yeah. I'll allow it. Continue.
What I'm saying is like all the bad things about me, I don't pretend they don't exist. I just know that they're there. You know what I mean?
You're embracing them.
Yeah.
Now,
which in a way,
this is part of me. I can't fix any of this.
I couldn't fix anything even if I tried, Nelson.
It would take a lifetime of just working at it.
Yeah.
So screw that.
Yeah.
That's, you know what? I like that as a New Year's resolution. My New Year's resolution is to just not do anything ever. But it's so easy.
I don't know. Like I think New Year's resolutions are a good thing in that, like, it's always good to have a reset, I think. So I don't discourage anyone that has New Year's resolutions or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily need that date to start anything either. Like, it always just seems kind of arbitrary.
Do you know what is funny about that is when it comes to smoking, they say to quit smoking, you very definitely should put a date on it because you're more likely for that to for you to succeed on that. Don't tell yourself, I'm going to quit smoking right now because you probably won't stick to that next week when you want to have a cigarette. But if you've been building to that date where you start something. So I actually do think, I really like the idea of user resolutions. Do you know what's funny? I'm sure if you went back to some of our previous episodes, I'm probably like, screw New Year's resolutions. They're a terrible idea.
But we're allowed to change and evolve.
Exactly.
I mean, not me anymore.
Yeah, you've declared that you will never change.
I've accepted all my faults.
Yeah. But no, I actually do think, it's a good idea. Like, but particularly something I think if you've been thinking about it for some time and you're like, this is what I want to do next year, you stick to that. I think it needs to be realistic as well, though. You know, that's why I've decided my New Year's resolution is to become Batman.
Right. So kill your parents. That's number one.
Already done.
Yeah.
Can't wait. That was the easiest step of all.
Mum, Dad, come down this alley.
Yeah. Had to pay a guy to do it.
I was going to say 4 alleys lady like this.
Yeah.
Melbourne is too safe.
Do you know what the craziest thing was? The pearls were the most expensive part. And then they had to be ripped off, obviously.
Yeah. And then you get your parents' inheritance, and you're like, this isn't enough.
Yeah.
This won't cover it. Oh, I can't even get a house for this, let alone a house with a cave underneath.
Did not think this one through. I've got brothers and sisters. This is not at all how the story goes. Anyway, but don't have any parents anymore, so that's fine.
I don't know why. Like, it's often a wish fulfillment thing that people are like, I want to be Batman. But I don't want to be Batman. I just want Batman's gadgets. To be Batman... You're going out every night fighting crime. You're getting beaten up. Your life's in peril. I think people just want the gadgets.
Yeah. I'm the same. But like I want to be more like a Superman. But I don't want to have any of the responsibility that Superman has. But honestly, there's not many like world-ending scenarios in which I'd need to get involved anyway.
Yeah, but when it does come up, you're thoroughly unprepared.
Oh, yeah, I should have been training for this. I'm actually far fatter than Superman is because I'm Superman, but I've done none of the exercise.
I was fatter than I am before I got the powers. Because once I got the powers, I really rested on my laurels.
Yeah, I don't have to do anything. I'm super powered. Anywho, Campbell, I think we should get into it.
Sure.
I've had enough about you and your lack of New Year's resolutions. Here's the thing. I know you've committed to that, but by the end of the episode, I'm going to ask you that question again. Okay. And I want you to come up with a better answer.
Okay, sure. But like, let's see. Because I might change. Like I said, we're allowed to evolve.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll change it. And if I haven't, I've really stuck to my guns. So either way, it's a win-win for me.
You need to really... Look, I'm not going to have any of this faffing about. Right? Yep. That's my New Year's resolution. No faffing about on the podcast.
Okay. We'll just end it here.
Yeah.
When has there been anything of any substance on any of the 220 plus episodes we've ever done?
We're about New Year's resolution. It's about to happen.
Quality from now on.
Quality from now on. Quality is subjective, though, isn't it?
If that's the best bit.
So, yeah. Okay. This first started on Reddit. It was cross-posted to us by Avant Cardigan. But it was originally by T. Broomy. And it was in the subreddit, Today I Fucked Up. Today I fucked up by telling a customer they're bad at their job. This happened a couple of years ago, but is by far the biggest fuck up I've ever committed. That's a bit extreme. Not that I know this person, but I feel like it's pretty extreme.
Just quick note before you get into the story. Should they just change the name of the subreddit to I Fucked Up? Because at the start of every post, inevitably is like, okay, obviously this didn't happen today.
Never, ever is it today. Yeah, very rarely.
And I would still read I Fucked Up, even if it wasn't as urgent as it happened that day.
Exactly. Like, oh, I don't know about this subreddit. It's I Fucked Up. That could have happened anytime.
I want fresh fuck-ups.
Okay. I was working in a cinema at the time, and Avengers Endgame was out. I was working the day shift in the week, so it was relatively quiet. A woman came out of her Avengers screening complaining about the sound balance. I went to check in the screen and the movie sounded normal. So I went to check the sound level on the speakers and they were all set to the normal levels. I came back and explained to the woman that all of our levels were normal. She insisted they weren't. Now, I'm somewhat of a movie buff and have noticed... Unfortunately, you got a job at the cinema. Because let me tell you, those two things do not combine well. I'm somewhat of a movie buff and have noticed a trend in recent years of action films having really poor sound mixing. The dialogue is usually too quiet and the action too loud. I don't know where this trend came from, but everyone seemed to finally realize when Tenet came out and they couldn't hear a damn thing anyone was saying. I can just see you nodding in my peripheral vision as I'm reading this. Yeah. So Tenet was, it made me angry.
I would argue that Tenet isn't a result of modern action movies. It's a result of Christopher Nolan always having bad sound mix.
Yes, very true.
Like, for instance, this isn't what this is about. I understand that.
Yeah.
But for instance, there's new sound codecs, the big one at the moment, Dolby Atmos.
Yep.
all around you kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
It can
11.1 is 11?
Yeah, there's all kinds
more?
of there's all different
A
variants.
gazillion point one.
And the point is, you really pinpoint accurately assign sound to different speakers. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing technology. But Christopher Nolan is such a he's got such a hard on for the way things used to be.
Yeah.
He won't film anything digitally, and he won't ever go above the standard 5.1 mix because you can't do Atmos on film.
Yeah.
So he'll only ever do that. But the problem is he puts so much into his 5.1
Yeah.
mix that it just becomes garbled. But if you ever want a quick explanation of why his films sound like that, that's why. He's trying to do the modern action and sound design in a very limited old format.
It is actually so annoying that is the thing, that he's ruined that. I feel like that there's plenty of films as well that have come out that it just annoys me that they can't get the sound right. And the dialogue is so important. I mean, Tenet is even worse because it is such a complex film.
Yeah, I rewatched it recently because it got released on digital with subtitles.
Yeah.
Far more comprehensible.
Yeah.
I missed heaps.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a movie you're going to miss heaps regardless.
Yeah.
But
it's
coupled with poor sound quality, you may as well just watch a silent
He's
film.
like, complicated plot. Okay. Garbage sound mix. Make it hard to follow plot. Yep. Change the aspect ratio every now and then. Really throw them off. Good luck with this one.
Exactly. Maybe it's just a social experiment that we're all part of. We have no idea.
Yeah. If anyone comes out and goes, I enjoyed Tenet, he goes, you liar.
Got another one. This wasn't meant to be enjoyable at all. Anyway, to continue. So I said to her that that's just how Endgame sounds. That for whatever reason, the sound mixers made the dialogue too quiet, and that I find it to be really annoying stylistic choice in modern filmmaking. The look of rage that engulfed her face cannot be described. I don't think I've ever seen someone go from 0 to 100 on the anger meter that fast. I am the sound mixer, she said. Turns out she worked at Pinewood Studios and was the person responsible for what I had just described as bad sound design to her face. She went on a whole tirade about how she knows more than me, as I just had to stand there and take it. I still stand by my belief that the sound mixing in Endgame was not good, but I never thought I'd end up saying that to the person responsible for it.
Well, it's funny because you would think, like, we've both worked in cinemas. Yeah. Normally, if a customer were to come out and say, the sound is wrong, your first thought is, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And this is the one point where you're like, maybe the cinema has got it wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
if the sound designer comes out and is like, no, trust me, it's you guys.
And like, speaker systems are calibrated. So someone comes in and calibrates them to be certain whatevers. Mm-hmm. So there's a chance that was done incorrectly or
over time. I'm sure
over time,
you know, they gets uncalibrated, something sort of F's up.
So I would say if there's ever a chance to have it recalibrated, it's when you're like, oh, the actual sound mixer of Avengers Endgame told us that it was wrong.
Yeah.
You maybe should go check it.
Exactly, yeah. And it's an interesting point, right, where I don't necessarily disagree with what this guy said. I mean, you've pointed out that Christopher Nolan is effing up his own films. But I think there definitely is... I don't know whether I noticed it in Endgame necessarily, but I have noticed in movies recently that sometimes the dialogue, I feel like, gets lost. And to me, for a multi-million-dollar Hollywood film production, the fact that they get that wrong seems so bizarre to me. Like, isn't somebody else watching this? The problem is they're watching the, reshoots in these, like, private, like, screening lounges where it's so easy to hear everything.
That's
it's like,
my
you need to go into a cinema and
read
like,
if you're mixing Avengers Endgame, not a small film.
Yeah.
You've probably got state-of-the-art equipment surrounding it, and not all theaters are created equal.
Yeah.
Even the ones that we worked at, certain cinemas had better sound systems than the smaller cinemas down the end. So, how long into the run of Avengers Endgame is it? What cinema is it in compared to what you're mixing? Yeah, there's a myriad of reasons why it's not going to live up to whatever state-of-the-art thing that you've mixed it on at Pinewood Studios, like the prestige studio.
Exactly. There should be the idea that, because obviously sound designers as well would put headphones on when they're editing the mix straight away. But they should do like You've done this now with headphones on. Okay, now sit in the back of a cinema with your laptop connected to the screen and do the sound mixing from there. Tweak any bits there. And you know what? For fun, invite a whole bunch of nerds eating popcorn at the same time. And that's when you should. Yeah. That's the peak. And then you release the movie twice. The digital, at-home release is the one where you got your headphones on. But the movie release is the one you've mixed specifically for the cinema in that environment. I think that's the way to do it.
And I would also say that if you're annoyed that the cinema has the sound slightly wrong, wait till it gets released on home media. It's it's just coming out of 2 speakers from a crappy TV. This isn't how I designed it at all.
I've got Atmos in my house. Canberra. I sit in a dome.
Surrounded by speakers.
Yeah, surrounded by speakers.
It's inhabitable.
It's the only way. The porn is amazing. Imagine
someone mixing porn in Atmos.
Surely it's happened.
You reckon?
They are normally the leaders of this sort of technology.
What I want to know.
The 3D stuff that they've done. VR stuff.
VR stuff, yeah. Well, what I want to know is Atmos's point of difference is height. So normal surround comes from the front, the side, and the back. Obviously, surround. Mm-hmm. But Atmos also comes from above.
Yeah.
So I want to know if you're mixing porn in Atmos, what sound effects are up there? What's coming from above?
It's the sound guy holding the boom mic. And he's like, oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I really like this stuff live.
You're sitting there in your state-of-the-art sound mixing studio and you're like, we've made a mistake.
We did not think this through. Turns out the sound only comes from one direction.
We've also just got the data. 80% of people watch it on their phones. So, how much do we spend on this?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a lot of money. But otherwise, yeah, it's a tricky situation, right? Just getting back to the actual confrontation that this person had. How do you think that you would go with that, sort of sticking to your guns? I mean, I think the funny thing is, like we were kind of saying, it could just be the cinema. And this guy's like, no, all the Hollywood films are doing it these days. And it's like, well, maybe you just only see films here. And that's what's, obscuring your view. But do you think that if you honestly believe this, you saw a Christopher Nolan film and the sound mixer came out and you were like, I know this is crap.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, you.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to talk to you for a while.
What
was happening in Interstellar? I had no idea. That organ was up way too loud.
Yeah, another complex film that definitely needs some.
I reckon if there's something that Christopher Nolan thinks might not hold up under scrutiny, he's like, bury it under the sound and the music and everything like that. But if people want to find a plot hole, they're going to have to dig.
Yeah. Let me tell you this thing that will sum up everything that's happened. Maybe that's it. Should we call Christopher Nolan out on this? We'll get him on the podcast.
Surprise interview.
We'll yeah. We'll call him up and just say, just a fun interview. Have you got time? We'll have to lull him into a bit of false sense of security.
But the thing is, we'll be like, we're doing a podcast, and he'd be like, oh, I don't listen to podcasts. I read the newspaper. And we're like, oh, he's so old fashioned.
So old. We'll pretend we're writing it for the newspaper, journal, Beagle.
What's the fanciest one? The New Yorker. We're writing for the New Yorker.
But also, we don't want him to read it. Be looking for that later on.
The Australian New Yorker. You don't get it there.
Yeah. It's really hard to come by. You have to go to a specific part in New York. The Australian Embassy in New York is where you can get the Australian New Yorker.
But also it's prestigious, so still do the interview.
Yeah.
It's a tightrope walk, but I reckon we nailed that.
Yeah, we've got it. All right, Canberra, I think we should move on to Ask Reddit. Ask Reddit.
Also, I do understand the irony that we've been discussing Christopher Nolan's bad sound mix, and at one point we will play the Podnapping theme, which is just screams and sirens.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I will yell at the person who disagrees.
Yeah, we never claimed to be auteur filmmakers, did we?
Mm-hmm. Okay, this Ask Reddit, Canberra, is by the Ask Reddit moderators.
Biggie. The biggest you can get.
The big dogs, we like to call them. just now. I've decided to do
And that's just us and them. You guys can't use
Don't call that. That's like a fun kind of like nickname between friends. Okay? Don't steal that. They've created the Fuck 2020 mega thread. Happy New Year! This is a mega thread to discuss everything related to New Year's Eve celebrations, the coming of the New Year, and the downfall of 2020. All top-level comments to this post should be questions surrounding the topic of the New Year. The purpose of this mega thread is to contain all of the New Year topics in order to cut down on all the New Year's posts we will get. While this is up, all other New Year posts will be removed. Love the mod team.
Big dogs.
Big dogs. So occasionally I'll do this. About, mega thread. This seems like a bit of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't really read through them as I usually do.
This has traditionally gone well for us.
It's honestly, I feel like it has, but not in the ways that we expected. No. So I'm just going to read through a few of the top level comments.
Sure. So these are all Ask Reddits around the theme of Fuck 2020 or the New Year.
Yes, that's right. This would have been great for our New Year's special.
And when did this post get posted?
3 days ago. What's the date?
Jan 1st. We would have been. Oh no, Jan 2nd.
Well, yeah, it would have. Yeah.
2 weeks. We recorded on Jan 1st, so
yeah, that's
we would have missed it.
The reason.
Yeah.
Okay, so this first one is by DJ Mash 44. Did anyone watch the ABC New Year's? They missed the fucking countdown to 12. Those fucking idiots missed it. That is awesome. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Did you know this?
No, I didn't know this at all.
That's hilarious. That's got to be the
So what were they
biggest-
doing? Like what? I want to know what they were doing when they realized.
It would have been great if it's an ad. Just going to go for a quick ad break before we do this.
Someone's watch running like 10 minutes late. Like, but someone high up so no one wants to question them. They're like, yeah, we've got 10 minutes, put it on an ad. And everyone's like, are you sure? So it's like, yeah, we've got 10 minutes, put on an ad.
We need to make all the money. Actually, that would be the best time to advertise, wouldn't it? I feel like that'd be great. Oh my God, can't believe this is the best marketing scam in the world.
To advertise near midnight on New Year's?
On midnight. On some sort of channel. Because everybody's like, oh, let's watch the thing. And it's like 3, 2, 1. Have you heard of Reddit on Reddit? We're a podcast.
So what you're suggesting is let's go with an Australian network because they're the ones we know. Mm-hmm. Let's say Channel 9, for instance.
Sure.
They've got the big New Year's special, I'm sure.
Probably.
And what you're suggesting is you call up whoever's in charge of that program and say, on 12, I want you to cut away from the fireworks and advertise for me.
Yes.
Right.
I don't see the problem here.
I would say the problem is money.
Yeah.
It depends how much money you want to throw at it.
Okay, but
how much are they spending on the fireworks? A couple of million, I would say.
Well, not them, though. I mean, the government does it. It's not the government does. It's not the channel.
Yeah, it's true.
Themselves.
But the question is, what is the value of midnight at New Year's?
Here's the thing. How much do you reckon? Just like normal ad time during New Year's Eve is.
It would be a lot because people are watching, obviously. Like everyone that can't go out is probably watching something on TV. I'm talking families mostly.
Yeah. I still think
we're young bucks. We're out there doing all sorts.
But that's why I think it would be mediocre at best because you're only getting, let's say, generously half the audience. And then even of that, there's like a small percentage actually watching any ads at the time. Like the ads are in the background, or even like the TV is normally just in the background at the time, and you occasionally check, oh yeah, okay, we've got still another 20 minutes to midnight.
Yeah. Oh, what's the Reddit podcast? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm imagining those ads are like, maybe they're above average, but probably not a crazy amount. I would suspect.
Not like a Super Bowl, for example.
Yeah, not like a Super Bowl where you're paying crazy amounts of money. So what about... But on midnight, on the dot, because then of those people that do have the TV on, you've got 100% of the market because they're all expecting.
I want to get really granular and specific though. Is I want them to say, I don't even want you to finish the number 1. Goes 2, what? And then cuts to our ad.
and it's just you and me just
With
smiling at a camera.
We pull a little banner and it says Happy New Year, and then it falls down even further. It goes from the Reddit on Reddit podcast.
And we've got sparklers. And we don't say a thing.
You just hear.
Just waving a little sparkler back and forth, just smiling.
And maybe like a little like on Apple Podcast and Spotify down the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. They need to know where to send their complaints. I want to know how much that would cost us.
It wouldn't be cheap.
But
if we ever start a Patreon, this is what it's for.
This is the top level donor. We'll put your name on. You can join us on the ad. Me and the donor.
If you pay for the ad, you're between us on the ad. Yeah. And you can pull the banner string.
Yes. And we'll allow you to blow a party blowers up. That'd be great. Okay.
Yeah. All you have to do, you need to cover the cost of getting on air. We'll cover the production cost of the ad. It won't be much.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to just probably do it here.
Got a big blank white wall over there.
Yeah, that's perfect. In fact, the banner thing, do we have to have a pull thing where it comes down? I feel like that's too much engineering. Let's just have it there.
I feel like you'd buy a pre-made asset that you like write your own words on the banner.
Yes.
Buy that for $5.
Okay, yeah.
And it won't, it won't look good.
That's a Patreon level below. Where you pay for that banner.
Yeah, you pay for the pre-made banner that we fill out to put into After Effects.
Yeah.
And I won't put any effort into making it look like it's really there.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit shaky. Yeah.
The lighting's like different. Doesn't look like it's there at all.
Yeah. Anyway, perfect plan. Okay.
We did realize, by the way, on New Year's, we were playing a game called Salem. We're playing it, later into the night as well. And that is a game that involves counting up or down from 10 quite often.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
And quite loudly as well, which I'd never realized that until you're doing it in New Year's. And you can kind of hear confused neighbors go, what are they?
Did we end up deciding to count upwards at some point?
I think so.
Yeah. You're like, this is less confusing for people.
Because when it's like, I don't know, 10:45 and you hear neighbors going, 10, 9, 8. You do have that bit of panic, I would imagine.
They were probably just thought we had young kids.
Yeah.
That were also mentally forgetful or something.
Yeah, because we did it often.
We did it quite a lot of times. Anyway, here's another question. This is by Squabbles. I know there aren't many people in Times Square, but man, has it always been this weird? Other countries show landmarks and fireworks. America shows billboard ads. Oh my God. While showing the same two people with Planet Fitness ads on their hats. I mean, this is very close to what we just suggested. Really, it is. I imagine. Well, I'd be interested to know if they jack up the prices for billboards on New Year's Eve.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I just think in December in because you would obviously buy them for a period of time. But Times Square is probably different. Because they're completely digital.
They've probably got this thing where it's like, hey, you can buy it for a month, 3 months, and there's certain deals.
Yeah.
But on December you only get it until the 30th.
Yeah.
And then the 31st it becomes
10 times more expensive.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Especially because there's always the one building, right, with the ball that descends.
Yeah.
So that building in particular.
Yeah, you'd think.
Because obviously anything in Times Square, people are going there. So you're always going to get visibility. But that one will be on like national broadcast.
That's right, yeah. It is weird when you think about it. That
Also,
it is...
I've just come up with the perfect plan.
Oh my God, okay.
Because they talked about landmarks. Obviously, the big one in Australia is they do it over the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
Yes, correct.
What do you think of an illegal banner? Across the bridge.
3, 2, 1, pull the banner cord.
New top tier Patreon.
Yeah.
Help us design the illegal banner across the Sydney. We need to somehow illegally, without notice, attach it to the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
I think you could. You'd have to do it like weeks beforehand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
like disguise it into the bridge. Like paint it the same color as the
on
bridge.
on the outside. So
it's
okay.
invisible to the human eye.
Yeah. Oh my god, this is the perfect plan in the world. What maybe okay, I like that our Patreon levels aren't necessarily like monetary values, but they're like commitments, like physical commitments. So top level is you're committing to be held responsible if we get caught for the whole
thing. Because we will say you made us do it.
Yeah. And you also have to say that even though you were the top Patreon, you actually also created the Patreon. Because I would be like, oh, well, you were just the top donator, quote unquote. But you have to be like, no. I also created the Patreon.
To be clear, I set this up myself and donated the most money to me.
Yeah, exactly. Next level down, I think, is the people that are gonna wear the, the construction worker gear, and walk onto the bridge a few weeks earlier to set up the rig.
And because that's the second tier, you share responsibility with us at that level. That's the level that we'll cop up to responsibility. Like, oh yeah, I think we had something to do with that. I don't really know exactly what it was. It's just a job for hire.
Can we just like paint the banner? You'll be like, we don't even know what it was for. We were just told to paint the banner, and that's as far as we know.
Paint your podcast on this banner. Nothing wrong with that. We thought, absolutely.
It's like the movie Die Hard 4.0, where they got hackers to do individual things, and none of them knew that they were part of a larger...
the top Patreon.
Yeah, the top Patreon.
Yeah. They were whoever the bad guy was.
Yeah, he knew everything. Okay, perfect. Anyway, it is weird that the landmark in America is just
billboards.
Ads. Okay, here's another one. I don't know how long we're doing this for. I guess this can be the whole Ask Reddit.
I reckon one more and we're probably done.
Okay. This is by Joey. Sure. You guys realize this was a leap year? This shit-ass year got an extra day. That's some bullshit. I did not even remember that. No. At all.
I mean, it felt like several extra days toward the end, especially.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose you may as well add it onto this year. It's like, it already feels like
that was the least offensive bit of the year. Like, there's an extra day.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, chuck it on.
Whatever.
Put it on the tab.
Yeah. We'll take it. Do you reckon there's a lot of people? I did see one thread where somebody was like, man, I had the best 2020 and I feel so weird about it.
Well, like that's the thing. Like my brother had a kid, he got a promotion in his work. And I remember him saying, it's weird that like 2020 for me is quite good.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think that for at least the short term, it's going to be known as that really terrible year. And there's always going to be in the back of your mind, be like, I nailed it.
Yes. Well, I think it is funny in that sense. In fact, I would say, because I am so pro working from home, which a lot of businesses are doing now, like I think that is such a huge thing to come out of this year. Because just a lot of businesses are adapting to that. Funnily enough, not so much the company that I work for. But
and it's a biggie.
But I think it will change slowly anyway, just the overall culture. And I see that as such a huge, like, there's like, what's the lasting negative effect of this year? Okay, I've just realized it's all of the horrible deaths.
All the deaths.
Yeah. Okay. But aside from all the horrible
what
deaths,
you're saying is it did elevate some things as well that you think are pro, because you're pro working from home, and you're pro the isolation of old people in aged care homes. They're the two things you care about. You said lock them up.
Exactly.
Like, if they decided to get that old, lock them up.
I'm so sick of all their freedom. But. Yeah, I just think like there is like that positive change of working from home is going to last for years and years, or maybe forever. And but like Yeah, I don't know. I've just realized, like, speaking out, how horrible it is to compare, like, the deaths don't mean nothing, anything in future years. But I'm struggling to not say that. So
I think you look at it like this: war, objectively bad. A lot of people die.
Yeah.
But for instance, medical innovation comes from war.
Thank you. Thank you for weirdly backing me up. How this sounds.
Because
Death
if
is
you
bad.
go down,
But
Nelson,
think about the
we're
medical
on the same.
advancements.
We're on the same ship. So it's in my best interest to not let you see. So I would look at it that way. Mm-hmm. Objectively, more good than bad. So more bad than good comes from it, but good does come from it.
Thank you. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Do you know, I saw, okay, it's going to take me on a small tangent here, but I saw a funny video today on YouTube. There was about 2 podcast hosts. It was like a sketch where 2 podcast hosts just agree with each other. And that's the joke. And, well, that's pretty much what we are.
Are you sure you just didn't listen to one of our episodes on YouTube?
It could have been that, actually. But thank you for helping me continue to dig that hole, dig our way out. All right, let's sit for Ask Reddit. Let's get into Today I Advice. So now it's time for Today I Learned. Let's play the intro to that. Today I Learned. And also sometimes advice. This Today I Learned is by ZoidBJJ. Today I learned that some Inuit groups used ridicule in the form of song duels as a means of conflict resolution. 2 men who had failed to resolve a conflict by other means would secretly compose derisive songs. Derisive. I said derisive. Just added some letters in there. About their adversary. The whole camp gathered in a large igloo to observe the song duel.
So they invented rap battles.
They basically invented rap battles. That is...
And it seems like in that case then, the Inuits would be the king of rap battles. So if there was ever to be a sequel to 8 Mile, I would love it the last... Because, he goes through all the people.
Yeah.
And he battles all of them. Mm-hmm. And then he gets to the last guy and a little Inuit comes out and he's like, oh no.
Yeah.
This is the best there is.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Actually, if like right at the end of the film where everything's, he's going back to his job, just like some guy, an Eskimo, with the full hoodie on, just kicks open the factory door.
This is a circumstance I want to see. And you need a particularly remote Inuit for this. Because not all Inuits are super remote, but there are some.
Yeah.
So super remote Inuit, grown up knowing this tradition, thinking I can do this, but they've evolved kind of into rap battles. I'm going to get into the rap game. What's my heritage? Inuit, obviously out in the snow, quite cold, live in igloos. I'm going to call myself Ice Cube. And they have to go, there actually already is one of those.
Yeah, this is...
Is he themed like that? Not at all, actually. It's now that I think about it, really weird.
You should be the real Ice Cube.
He doesn't do anything about cold at all. That's not a thing he does.
Yeah.
Why is he called Ice Cube? We don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll go by the other name I was thinking of. I only have 50 cents to my name. So. Okay, so this is great, but I really like the fact that there's an emphasis here on conflict resolution. It's not just the idea that you are gonna, as a bit of fun, diss the other person as a rap battle sort of thing. It's like, no, we have a fundamental disagreement, and we've tried fisticuffs, and that didn't work. It's these damn comfy mittens that we wear. You can't land a punch as well.
If you do, not that quite nice.
Yeah. Normally the fighters just end up going to sleep.
So what's the ritual called?
It does not have a name.
What is it? It called it something at the beginning.
Nope. Inuit groups use ridicule in the form of song duels as a means of conflict resolution. I could probably click on the link, Cam, but I've never done this before.
It's all right. I got what I need.
This is technically
I've
not
just made a
Googling.
note in my phone that says, next Podnapping, ridicule song duels.
I'm totally okay with it. In fact, part of the reason why I brought this up is because I thought this was be a great thing for us to do.
Yeah.
I do think we should try to come up with a conflict that we have, a type of argument, because rather than just, I mean, look, your name so easily rhymes with clam poo that I don't want to use that,
you want
to my
challenge.
advantage. So
Yeah.
I think that there should be like an argument that we are trying to resolve by and in fact, I'd prefer if it's not a rap battle.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Because I feel like that's maybe not in the Inuit spirit, that there's some dude in the corner going. So yeah, I think that I'm all up for that sort of Podnapping. But maybe we need a bit of time to prepare.
That's why I put it for next week, Nelson.
That's not far enough. I want like 3 weeks. Maybe listeners could write in with what topic we can argue about.
Yep. All song lyrics would be good for me.
If
you want to write some bad song lyrics about Nelson, send them through.
Yeah. I don't need any help. I've already got clam poo.
And you're going to do that Eminem style, like, get my disses before me, but like, I know my name's Nelson and you're probably going to call me Smelson. I'm like, oh, that's the one I had.
Yeah.
It's like using your opponent's weight against them in one of the martial arts. I forget which one.
Just all of them.
All of them.
Yeah, I think all of them.
Kickboxing? No, that's one of the ones you don't.
Judo can be. I used to do judo. It was all about that. Yes. I was going to say something else. I don't know. Should we do another one?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got a dinner waiting. Yeah, go on, do it anyway.
All right. I'm getting hungry. Okay. This one is it was cross-posted to us by Event Cardigan, but it was originally by Malala Targaryen.
Targaryen?
Yeah, it is.
The Game of Thrones last name.
I don't know how you spell Targaryen, but the last part of this is Targaryen for sure. Malala. Is that a character?
Yep.
Today I learned that when the Flintstones added the baby Pebbles in 1963, it was originally going to be a boy until Ideal Toys pointed out that they would sell a lot more merchandise if they made the baby a girl, as baby boy dolls didn't sell well in that era.
I love a decision made purely for like merchandising reasons. I mean, Star Wars is full of it.
Well, yeah, Star Wars is a great one. And in fact, I love the tidbit about Spaceballs, where George Lucas gave them the rights to make parodies of Star Wars in Spaceballs, but only if they didn't have any rights, like the merchandising or something. Like there was, or like he just thought it would be better for the merchandising of Star Wars if this happened. There's something along those lines. And it's like, yeah, you just looking for more money to be made.
Things have changed somewhat with when Disney brought Star Wars, but Lucasfilm, who traditionally owned Star Wars, were all up for anyone making fan films. Like they wouldn't block them, they wouldn't copyright strike them. In fact, they had like on their website, they had like resources to help you make Star Wars films.
Right.
Because they're like, yeah, well, it's only going to be good for us,
Yeah.
And like they do have the legal right to stop it. And I'm sure if you made like some weird porno mixed in Atmos, slapped on the Star Wars logo, they might be like, all right, this one, don't delete it, give it to me.
Yeah. Just, we can't
But
release this
they were all for like, fan engagement does nothing but help.
Well, yeah, I love that idea.
Or just Star Wars again, the fact that Ewoks only called Ewoks because that's what they were called on the toys.
Yeah.
Never in the movies were they ever called Ewoks.
Yes, that's right. I remember.
That's what the toys were called.
Yeah, I remember hearing that. But I think more companies really should be like that. Although, funnily enough, there was an ad campaign once that a car company did. I'm going to say Ford, but I have no idea. And what they did was they gave you video assets, like stock footage of their brand new car, And their whole idea was you create the ad for the car. You know, it was a bit of fun. They might have had a competition at the same time. And every single person created an ad that was like anti-cars. Like there was I remember specifically in one of the ads, you know, there's some stock footage of somebody like putting stuff in the boot. And they were like, look at all this space you'll never use. This car is far too big for what you need. The emissions that this car releases is going to be terrible. In a matter of years, it will degrade this much, you know, and like just throwing statistics about how bad it is, to the point where the ad company actually had to pull it. And they were like, we can't continue to let people like ruin our brand like this. But, I mean, it's playing with fire more so when you're an ad company as opposed to, you know, something fun that people like. But I would love to see, you know, if there was Harry Potter and stuff. It's probably not as much easy to CGI things. You know, you don't have like a Millennium Falcon, you know, which would be cool to put through. But it's like, oh, do I need a hippogriff or something to come through? Maybe not as cool.
There's a theory, and I think there's some weight to it, which is I don't know if you necessarily notice this, but let's take the Marvel movies as an example. Be it Thor, be it Iron Man, be it Captain America. In every single movie, their suit changes slightly. It either upgrades or changes, or maybe they get something or they don't have something, etc. And there's a theory that is because you can then release a new action figure every time. Because if Thor had the same costume every time and you brought a Thor action figure from Thor 1, there's no need for you to buy a new one by the time Endgame comes out, because he looks exactly the same. Right. But it's a way to be like, oh, I've got the one from the original Avengers, and I've also got the one from the second Avengers, and here's him from Thor Ragnarok, and it makes it like you can make toys that way. And Star Wars is exactly the same. Han Solo looks slightly different in each of his films. So does Luke. So does Leia.
Right. You've got each iteration.
When you're buying toys, Princess Leia toys isn't that detailed. So if you change her outfit, by the time you get to the third one, you've got a new toy to put out.
And really, as well, that goes into the whole culture of collectibles. Too. You know, it's not just the fact that you get kids to do it, but it's like, well, you need to complete the set. You need the series to be, you know, have the mint conditions that you don't open for years and resell at a higher price when, you know, somebody dies. Although I feel like, well, funnily enough, you say Avengers Endgame, which this would fit into it, but I would say the Hulk is a hard one to replicate. But in Avengers Endgame, he actually does have quite a distinct, different look. But otherwise, he's normally like, you know, do I really need him to have purple shorts in this one and dark grey split shorts in the other?
But, I mean, the fact that they give Hawkeye a new costume every movie, I mean, who cares? You know? Other than if you're really
the most important.
If you're really into collecting and you need to collect Hawkeye, then you need to collect Hawkeye in every outfit.
Yeah, nobody's collecting.
No.
Okay, obviously. He should come as like an extra. By Iron Man. Also, Hawkeye is there. All right, okay, but let's move into shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts.
This shower thought is by S777. Guess which of the sevens was spelt 7?
The middle one.
Obviously.
Yeah,
because I would have said 77 or something.
Because your inflection change, you went 777.
Okay. How about now? S777.
Middle one, because you said it before.
Yeah. Because I did not change from what. Yeah. Okay. I'll give you your birthday present later is a totally different statement coming from your mother than your girlfriend.
Do you think that I'll give you your birthday present later is clearly bad organization, though?
Yeah. If my girlfriend said that to
obviously
me-
there's an opportune time to give it to you now, but I'll give it to you later.
Yeah. Well, that's the if it comes from my girlfriend, I'm like, right, you cheaped out and you got me something sexual that probably we've done before anyway. And
Didn't cost you a cent.
Yeah, really, you've just cheaped out on this. But I would say from my mother, I'd be like, oh my God, what is she giving me that she's so embarrassed about giving to me in front of other people?
Yeah.
That she needs to give it to me later. One, she's either hasn't got me anything. Two, she's pulls me into the room later on. She's like, I got you this How to Stop Bedwetting book.
Yeah.
Because, I know you don't run a... And I'll be like, oh, thanks, Mum. I really appreciate that.
Thanks for not giving this to me out there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can't imagine the scenario when my mum is like, oh, I need to give you the present later.
Yeah.
Unless it's like, I don't know, extravagant, like a car or something. It's like, I really can't give it to you right now.
Yeah, we're out for lunch, but the car is at this place or whatever.
Yeah. That would get my hopes
I wouldn't
up
mind
there.
that. If someone said, I'll give you your present later, and it was a car, I'd forgive them for the tacky, I'll give you your present later thing.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be fine. Okay, here's the other scenario.
Let's just quickly make this rule while
Yeah.
we're on it. If someone says, I want all the listeners to do this. If someone says to you at some point, oh, hey, I'll give you your present later, very loudly go, why is it a car?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it needs to be even more committal than that, really.
Oh my God, you got me a car.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Something like that. You could even reference this podcast.
Yeah.
On the Reddit podcast, they said you would never do this unless you are buying somebody a car.
Because worst case scenario, you're still kind of embarrassing your friend, and that's a bit funny. Best case scenario, you're getting a car.
I was thinking best case scenario, you've advertised our podcast.
All right. Yeah. That's also a benefit.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the other scenario. You're in bed with your girlfriend and you're having sexy times. Maybe you even finish the sexy times. And then she says, I'll get you your present later. Now, does that confuse you? Because you're like,
Twice in one night? What am I, Casanova? Obviously, now I'm going immediately to sleep.
I mean, well, see, I would imagine she knows I can't do that. And that's very much not a present for me. In fact, that's torture.
Yeah.
So what could it be that's kind of secret, but couldn't have just been done then and there previously? That's a game changer. That's when you get your partner to really start thinking. If you really want to surprise them with something crazy, I think that's when you do it.
I think I've got the best response for it. We need to role play a bit.
Okay.
We've just had sexy time.
Okay.
On my birthday.
Okay.
And you say,
Hey, Campbell, I'll give you your present later.
oh my God, you've got me a car.
It is a car.
They said on the Reddit podcast, you'd never do this.
Yeah, it is.
Subscribe now.
Yes, I have. That's how that would always go.
Only if you plug the podcast.
Okay, here's another one. This is by Smacker. Now, which letter do you think was capitalized?
E.
Yeah. It's 2 words. I mean, and the S.
Yeah.
Obviously. Okay.
I hope no one else is amused by this.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Like, it's not just such a stupid joke. Okay. Almost every car race movie has a side-by-side, neck-and-neck scene where the protagonist proceeds to floor it to take the lead, as if that was not a suitable option before that moment. This is such a good point, and I hate that so much.
Is it one of the scenarios in which when you're on a plane and they're like, okay, folks, we're going to make up a bit of time here, and they accelerate, and you're like, well, just go that quick all the time.
Why couldn't
but
you do that?
There are a myriad of reasons that they don't, and I don't know.
Actually, no, it's fuel related.
I don't know that much about car races or the mechanics of cars in general, but I drive in order, right? So yeah, put my foot on the accelerator, it goes faster is a thing that I know.
Yeah.
But if you're in a like top of the line car. I imagine it's to do with what gear you were in. Fuel probably comes into it. There's probably not like a huge whatever liter engine like a standard car. I would say you're probably
Keep going.
My point is,
I know you don't know anything about this, and I also don't know anything about this.
My point is, if you could just fully accelerate at all times and just be the fastest, people would do it.
Well,
I'm saying I think that we don't know enough, probably nor does the person that posts this know enough about car racing. Or
No,
how realistic
I disagree.
Or how realistic car racing movies are, I guess, more to the point.
yes. Okay, well, here's the thing. I know not much about car racing, a little bit about motorbike racing because my father's into it a lot.
Different kettle of fish, Nelson.
Totally.
Can't believe you brought up something so different.
Motorized engines are just completely different in those two vehicles.
Let's just count the wheels. 2, 4, different.
It's doubly different. But I mean, okay, so for one is like the make and model of the car, right? Yeah. But let's kind of ignore that fact.
Okay.
Because, no, purely for the idea of this shower thought, which is that if you're putting pedal to the metal, I think it doesn't matter. If you're in the better car, you would have put your pedal to the metal. Like both cars are at the pedal to the metal, and then the one that's manufactured better gets ahead. But there's not this point of like, now I'll accelerate, you know?
Yeah.
But the other thing is, it is about changing gears and whatnot, but around corners and such.
Yeah.
You know, when you're on the straight, you're just fucking going as fast as possible. And that, I feel like, is often the scenario in the movies, where it is there on the straight.
But
and it's
in the movie, it's never just put the foot down. It's put the foot down and shift the gear.
Yeah. But again, it's like, as soon as you got to the straight, you should have shifted gears. Like, come on, man.
Also, if movies have taught me anything, and they've taught me heaps,
Yes.
I've seen Fast and the Furious. Hit the little NOS button.
Yeah. But apparently not too early.
Not too early. Not too early.
I don't understand that.
I learned 2 things from Fast and Furious. Hit the NOS button, not too early, and do live your life a quarter mile at a time. They're the 2 things that I really learned from those movies.
You should have learned a third thing, and it was family.
Well, yeah, that's a larger lesson, obviously. That's the all-encompassing lesson.
That's the
But
and
specific-
inside that
Specific about cars
Yes.
are those 2 lessons.
Okay, that did get me about whatever film that one was from. Where he's like, "Oh, you press the NOS too fast." I'm like, does it matter? I don't really
I
understand.
also don't think NOS works in the way it works in those movies.
Yeah. Okay. That's surprising because
all I know,
otherwise those movies
appears
are
to be
pretty
some
accurate.
gas, probably green in color, go into the engine go bang, car go fast. And I don't know if that's exactly how it works.
No, I think that's how it is. Exactly.
I've seen those 3D animations of the NOS going into the engine.
Exactly. All right, Cambo. Yeah. All right. Let's get into podnapping.
Oh my God, I'm being podnapped.
Podnapping.
Can I just say, you understood the words, oh my God, I'm being podnapped and podnapping clearly. Mixed better than Tenet.
It was way better. Although, funnily enough, we often get asked about our intro, what you say.
Yeah.
So our intro is mixed poorly, apparently.
We didn't mix that.
Ah, my brother did. Yes. An idiot.
We've skirted responsibility once again.
Okay, so here's what happened. A blessing happened, I would like to say. Oh, this is podnapping. We never, whatever. I came up with. No, I didn't even come up with it. I was going to do another podnapping idea that somebody else came up with that I thought was mediocre. But then what happened was I got a package in the mail.
Ooh.
And it was from my Secret Santa.
Great.
And my Secret Santa had said to me, message me when you get it because I need to tell you about it first or something.
Sure.
Something like that.
Something like that.
And so I did, and he said, okay, great. This involves a podnapping.
Oh.
And I thought, thank God. Skirted responsibility.
Yeah.
Again.
You had your big whiteboard up there that just says podnapping question mark. And it's blank.
Yeah.
Completely blank. You stare at it every night.
Yeah. That was the worst part. You know where you're like, okay, I need to get in shape, but first I need the right runners. Oh, but I also need the watch that tells me how fast I'm going, and the t-shirts and the shorts and all that. And I bought all that stuff, which was the whiteboard and a few sticky markers and stuff. But I haven't yet to write anything on that whiteboard.
And really, giving us content for the show is the best present you can give us.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, I could throw these packages out and I would just be like, this is fine. But then that would also defeat the purpose.
Yeah.
So I'm obligated to open them.
Sure.
So partly, I think just Secret Santa, hey, this is what I got. But also there is some, I honestly don't know what the Podnapping is going to involve here.
Is there a particular order that there's 2 packages?
There are 2 packages. I don't know. You know what? Feel that one. What do you think about that?
I'm going to feel it on mine.
Oh.
Feels like a soft toy, like a
there's
plush.
2 soft ends, but then a hard bit in the middle.
Something hard in the middle.
Okay. Well, obviously not something I can use sexually, because at least one end has to be hard. Trust me, Cam, but I've tried to use things that are hard in the middle, and it just doesn't work.
Getting hard in the middle never works.
That's what my mother always told me. Okay. Oh, we would deceptively...
it's bubble wrap.
This is actually a very cool present. It was deceptive in the fact that it was bubble wrapped and in a sort of bonbon style. So that's what gave it the soft edges. But inside is a D20, which is perfect for the Dungeons and Dragons games I play.
And also perfect for Podnapping.
Probably Podnapping. Probably the other gift is going to explain all of this. Can you open that? Because we're going to need that. Okay, next gift. I'm not going to let you feel this one. It kind of feels like a t-shirt. Do you know what would be funny? Is if this present was not from my KK and it just happened to come.
It just happened to arrive. Did you order t-shirts recently?
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
This is a big boy, this die as well.
Yeah, it's very big. It's a big D20. I like it. It will be my DM D20.
The problem is I tried to roll it to kind of so people could hear it, but we've put these little mats down for like soundproofing, so it really doesn't make that much of a noise. Let's do it on the wood.
Oh, that's a good... Oh, you got an 18 too. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Okay. It is. I don't think this is it.
You think this is an unrelated...
This is an unrelated gift.
Is it even from your KK?
My sister ordered something.
Does this count as a Podnapping?
Yeah.
I don't think this does count as a Podnapping.
Yeah. This is interesting.
Hey, hang on.
Oh my God.
You get a 7 out of 20 for this Podnapping, Nelson.
Really? That's high.
Anything? That's
that
generous.
Is so high.
It's right next to that 2. I reckon just tip it over onto the 2.
I was even going to take a photo of this and send it to my Secret Santa and be like,
"Is this it?"
Just double checking. Yeah. But I was like, I have nothing else to open. And now I've remembered my sister has absolutely ordered something to my house and she asked about it and I was like, yep, totally fine.
And she's like, whatever you do, don't open it.
Don't. I swear to God, if you open this.
If you see a package from Superhero Stuff, we're Hero Shop, do not open it.
I also thought that because I was like, superhero stuff, sure, that relates to me. Yeah. This would be...
You want to be Batman?
Camber, what do we do now?
I think we're an hour in. Let's just...
Should we go back to shower?
You're doing Podnapping next week, obviously.
But this was my Podnapping.
I understand that. But maybe by then your other package will have arrived.
I can't believe that this has failed so poorly.
Nelson, we do nothing but fail on this show.
Do you know what I'd like to... Okay, I've got a new Podnapping. I've just come up with this. Okay?
Nelson, we're an hour in.
Yeah, I've got it. This is my Podnapping. Okay? We're going to call this Podnapping Reflection.
No. I don't think I'm going to allow this.
Okay. And what we're going to do is, Camber, you and I are just going to be silent for a solid minute.
And wonder where it went wrong.
And you can reflect on anything you'd like.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be reflecting.
Us and the listeners.
I'll be reflecting. They'll all be reflecting.
I know what I'm going to be reflecting. Okay.
Just going to be thinking about that time that you had the phone ready to send a message to your Secret Santa, and we're like, And you're going to play that moment over and over again for 1 minute in your head.
I could hide so much opportunity. My Secret Santa replied instantly as well. Okay, can we start the timer?
No, I don't think.
Okay, I'm going to count to 30 seconds in my head while also reflecting.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Don't say anything. Very important that you don't say anything. Okay, it's just your time to reflect.
Yeah.
On anything that the listeners might want to reflect on. Any failures in their life that they've just recently publicly done. Okay. Ready? Or are you getting a timer?
Yeah, I thought that we would do this properly.
Okay. Yeah.
If we're
good.
gonna make this a pod napping.
Yeah, because this is definitely a serious pod napping segment.
Okay. Are you ready?
Let me just get into the right mind. Okay, ready?
Yep.
It's gonna play an ad first. Oh no, it's not.
Though it may not like.
We got it. It's coming.
Nelson, we might not got it. Even your backup.
We can't even get the YouTube video. Oh, here we go. Okay.
30 seconds from now.
Yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
Can't believe Nelson's ruining the show week by week.
Like I could have just messaged him. I'd just be like, hey, is this the thing?
I mean, I want to replace him, but with who?
My sister's not angry.
Or is it whom? What's the right one? Who or whom?
I hate it how Gambo sometimes grammatically gets things incorrect.
Whom sounds smarter?
I had a great time reflecting.
It was actually quite tranquil.
Yeah. You know what? Next Podnapping, I'm going to do that for real.
What's your?
That was for real.
What did you reflect about?
Just like how powerful our friendship is.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I can't believe that was such a failure. That's really funny, but also on par.
I can believe it.
So that was definitely my podnapping. Your podnapping next week. Write in if you think that wasn't my podnapping.
Yeah, I would back that right in if you think Nelson needs to do podnapping again.
Yeah.
Also, jump on Discord, jump on Reddit, whatever avenue you want to take to tell Nelson that wasn't podnapping.
Yeah. I can't believe that happened. That's so funny. I'm betting, though, that the D20 is going to come into. Also, here's the thing. Guess what my sister sent to my house?
It's from superhero stuff.
That's going to be my next podnapping thing. Guess what it was?
And then week after that, which letter do you think was capitalized?
Okay. Let's get into the Ask Me Anything, where listeners of the show, just like you, can write in and ask us anything we want.
Yes. You want. No, you can ask us anything we want. Go on here from Hallie. Says, gentlemen, I have some good news to share. My boyfriend, Chris, who played in our Among Us game months ago, finally listened to the latest episode. He never listens to podcasts, so this is quite the feat.
Woohoo!
On the other note, I got my Secret Santa email and was assigned some loser named Michael Campbell and wanted trade. He lives in Australia and says that he also hosts a podcast. Anyway, I'm hoping to switch with someone, maybe even Cambo. My question for this week, if you could exile all your enemies somewhere, where would you put them? Love you guys, Hallie. P.S. Cambo, you're not a loser. I think I'm funny. And P.S. Chris, are you still listening to their podcast?
That's the most important
That's
thing.
the most important one.
Because you need to get listeners, but then retain them.
And Chris, this is important. Mm-hmm. Meet us in Sydney. Come dressed as a construction worker.
Yeah.
We have a plan for next New Year's.
Well, he has to be a top patron. Second top.
Give us money. Meet us in Sydney.
Yeah.
Where would we put our enemies?
Where we put our enemies? Probably just in this podcasting room. Don't you think
That's how
that
this podcast started.
if we have enemies, like I imagine they also don't like us.
Yeah.
So the worst thing for them to experience
Yeah.
would just be us rambling like the whole time.
Would you say that, let's take, who are our enemies, Nelson? Welcome to Patchwork.
We know. Yeah.
Welcome to Patchwork. And I think that we've got this really charming thing where they're kind of like, we're enemies and they're kind of jabbing fun at us and they're like, oh, no, they're all right. But we hate them. We
Yeah.
hate them with the white hot intensity of 1,000 suns.
Yes.
Yeah.
My
So-
blood boils.
Yeah.
Just
But-
thinking about them.
My point is, with that, if you put them in this room, would that be more torture for us or them? 'Cause I think that's like a double-edged sword in a way. Because if your enemies are trapped in a room with you, bad for them, but also bad for you.
But we can leave afterwards.
Oh yeah.
They have to stay.
And maybe they're gagged.
I think it is. Can't let them be talking.
Yeah.
That would have interrupted
Yeah.
the reflection that we just did. And that was really
Or like
important
when
to
we're
me.
both talking about car racing when neither of us knows anything, and maybe one of them would, and they'd be like, I really want to correct him.
Nah, they're all nerds. It would be, do you know what? It would be the look of like where they wince. You know how people wince a little bit? Where they're like, oh, what is this that I'm listening to? It would be that face that I couldn't get used to.
I imagine Chris experienced that many times in his recent listen to our show. Just that wince, and then Hallie looked at him and he feigned a smile
like,
and nodded.
Yeah, I like the reflection bit. Yes. Where else do you think? A volcano? Sure.
But volcano, probably death, right? But
Yeah.
I feel like exile, the torture of exile is being stuck somewhere.
Yeah, in a volcano where you will die.
But my point is, like, on a remote island, exile probably worse because that's a very long...
Is there a volcano on this island?
Yeah, but we control it. So when we're sick of them being in exile, we erupt the volcano.
Yes, that would be perfect. Just on a desert island, you reckon?
I reckon some kind of drab hotel.
Okay.
They can't leave the hotel. So they can go to like they're stuck there, and like initially they're like, oh well, there's like a little cafe down the bottom of the hotel or whatever, and there's a little lounge area, and that's good for at a normal hotel. That's good for like 2 days tops. But the rest of your life always spent in this one hotel because hotels are nice, but they're never home, are they? You know what I mean?
And they always burn the coffee.
I always burn the coffee.
Here's the thing, though. Uber Eats has changed the game. Yeah. You know? You can get so many...
We need to make sure Uber Eats isn't in that area.
Yes. Okay. Well, I guess let's put the hotel on a remote island.
Next to a big volcano.
This is working out swimmingly.
Hotel in Pompeii or something.
I do like the idea, right? This is how I'd like to start this, I think, is first, our enemies, welcome to Patchwork. We get them over.
Yep.
And we're like, hey, just come on the podcast for a bit of a laugh. And during the podcast, we ask them an innocent question. Hey, if you're stranded on a desert island, what's the one thing you'd bring with you?
Yeah.
And then we give them that one thing, and they'll probably be thinking of like, oh, funny answers. And we're like, haha, idiots. And so then we give them, the like 10 CD box set of Game of Thrones because that's what they thought was the funniest answer. Because they're honestly not funny. That was their funniest answer.
Yeah.
Gambit. That I presume they would say.
Yeah, you're so right.
Yeah. And I think that would be interesting to sort of just film that and see how that plays out. I quite like that idea.
Yeah.
Of being like, well, you've made your bed, now sit in it.
Yep. Also, while on the topic, no beds here.
No, none of you said for a house for a bed. Idiots.
Metaphorically speaking, you've made your bed. In practice, you will not be able to do that.
Exactly. Okay, Gambit. Let's move on.
Yeah, there's another email here. Do you want me to read the next one, or would you like to read the next one? It's a short one.
I suppose I'll just
Okay.
read the next two, yeah. Okay, this is... Oh, shit, I don't even know who this is by. I think it was by...
Our biggest fan, our favorite listener.
Our biggest fan. No, it was by Zupa Slime, right? Something like that. We've got a listener like that. Oh, which might be Rasmus. I don't know. Anyway, on episode 14, you asked us listeners to tell you the longest podcast episode ever. Here is the answer. Now, they've taken a screenshot, and which is just like they've Googled what's the longest podcast ever. And I'd like you to just tell me how you feel about what this person has written. Mm-hmm. So this is like the top, I think, hit on Google when you search this. I was thrilled to host a 36-hour non-stop podcast on the 21st and 22nd of April 2016. I didn't sleep for the full 36-hour marathon and broke the world record for the longest ever continuous podcast.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Two things.
Yeah.
First, whoever wrote this in, episode 14, you got it in just in the nick of time.
Yes, that's right.
Our return on investment is roughly 200 odd episodes. So thank you for sending that in.
Exactly.
We were waiting on that.
Yeah, if we got to 300,
and
we'd be so annoyed.
I remember asking that. Definitely.
Yeah, we did. We definitely asked that.
Secondly, there's a lot of claims.
The problem is it's done in first person, isn't it?
It's done in first person and with no name of the podcast. No link to the podcast.
Well, admittedly, there might have been. This is just like, the little exit that Google does when it's like...
Here's the thing. Mm-hmm. Are people checking? Because here's my dastardly plan is we write up something saying we were thrilled to host the 36.5-hour non-stop podcast in which we didn't sleep.
Yeah.
And just get that to the top of Google results.
Exactly. That's what you need. We'll pay for it.
Yeah. We change the metrics on Google such that we show up first. And then we'll be like Reddit on Reddit podcast, obviously.
Yes, exactly. Again, apologies for whoever sent this to us. But this is total bullshit. Because, world records do need to have, there are like rules around them, which is why Guinness World Records they're not the only one to do it. For example, I know that there is like an entity that controls speed running through games, and they are like the official one, and they have set rules about it, and there's things that you have to conform to, because otherwise, if this guy was like, "Yep, I did a 36-hour marathon. I said one word every hour," it's like, well, there needs to be some sort of officiate and what are the rules behind this? And I would say the fact that he hasn't mentioned Guinness World Records in this makes me think that he hasn't officiated it, and he's Googled what's the longest podcast, and somebody said, I did it for 30 hours. And so he's like, great, I'll just do it for 36, and then I've claimed that I've got the longest. The other thing is that I did look into this a while ago through Guinness World Records, and there's not a specific podcasting category, and you actually have to do it through as part of a longest running radio host sort of thing. It's grouped together basically with radio, which kind of makes sense to me, because it's like, just because a new platform comes out doesn't mean like this thing hasn't already existed for so long already, Like, oh yeah, I've got, I've traveled the longest on my push bike, but it's got a third handle. So that's technically a different sort of bike. So, like that just wouldn't hold up. So I think that it does need to be grouped with that. And it's something like 62 hours. But it was covered, I think, by like...
A lot of people.
A lot of people. And
it was like a radio team.
Yeah. And so it's done a little bit differently in the sense that... So I think we could still do it, I thought, technically. And I was going to impose our own rules where one of us is always on the podcast at one time. Yeah. As a minimum. And even on, if we're not, we limit it to like an hour or something, so that our break time show up. But they also have mandatory breaks. The Guinness World Record has, to stop any people dying from doing these challenges.
Yeah, for being awake for 72 hours.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it was like for every, I don't know, like 12 hours, you get 20 minutes or something. where you can break it up in certain ways.
Well, here's the thing. If we wanted the longest podcast in the world, longest podcast episode, technically we could just edit together all of our previous episodes into one long episode, special episode 004.
Yeah, exactly.
That's 220 plus hours. No one's got an episode longer than that.
That's true. But we'd have to edit.
Pay someone.
Yeah.
Pay someone to edit.
Pay someone, yeah. Well, funnily enough, some of the rules that they have is while you're doing this, you have to, if there's a video recording it, you have to have the clock visible the 100% of the time during that video so that, they can...
So are you saying to the person that put this, that showed up on Google, good one, idiot?
Yeah, good one, fucking idiot. You've done nothing of the sort. But anyway.
And nor have we.
Exactly. Okay. So here's another email. And this was by Vamp N Demigod. Hey, Nelson. Cambo, stop reading now. I need to plot with Nelson. I'm emailing this to you instead of posting it on the Discord so that you have the option of how this information is dispersed to listeners. Cambo, I said stop reading. Nelson, were you aware that Cambo is secretly a golfer?
Oh, yeah.
He also has a podcast wherein he pretends to be from Canada. I trust you to inform the internet of his Cambo, I told you not to read this, of his infidelity towards the Reddit podcast.
I should also point out I'm also technically a surfer.
You are, probably.
I know more about me than this person.
That's
Isn't that
surprising. Also, you're definitely on two other podcasts that we've spoken about on the podcast.
One of them. The other one we won't name.
Not in relation to this, yeah.
Do you know I did have someone message me privately being like, I know you said you won't ever name the other podcast, but what is it?
Yeah. I love that it's so secretive and we will never ever reveal it.
Never reveal it.
No, wait. Top Patreon gets to know. Okay. But he started off Vamp and Demigod, Cambo Facts correspondent.
Oh,
I like that somebody is the correspondent of you.
How many golf titles have I won?
In brackets, probably none. In brackets, Reddit on Reddit podcast correspondents corp.
Ooh.
Okay, this corporation that's started.
We can't stop them.
We won't even try it. P.S. P.S. I hid this in the P.S. so Cambo wouldn't see it, even if he read the rest of the email.
Well, paranoid.
He also is a medical doctor and plays American football in the United States. PPS, I know this will probably get read or referenced on the podcast no matter where I give permission for it to be read, whether I give permission for it to be read or not. So I might as well give permission. PPPS, you may read this on the podcast if you wish. PPPS, the yelling at cameraman may be left out of a reading on the podcast if you wish. And then he gives the sources.
Great.
To which obviously I'm never going to click on the link.
The sources are there. That's good enough for us.
Oh, you're on the Money Talks with Campbell, with Michael Campbell on Apple Podcasts.
Wow.
Everybody should review that show.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of reviews about this podcast.
Yes, please. Okay, we've got the new
that
one.
is so
All
good.
right. Money Talks with Michael Campbell, Michael Campbell, rather, on Apple Podcasts. Everybody get on there, review this show. I think that'd be great.
I am curious as to why
The rest are boring.
they were Googling me. Like,
Because there's very few Nelson Allinghams. I'm betting they did the same.
yeah, okay, yeah.
In fact, very few /1. There is not another Nelson Allingham in the world.
just to let everyone know that if you just type in Money Talks, the podcast doesn't show up. It looks like you do specifically need to also add Michael Campbell.
With Michael Campbell. Okay, this is great. Oh, is
guys.
it last done in 14th of December 2020? Because that's what he's getting at.
Also, there's only one rating and no reviews yet, so we could really take over this review.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's happening. It's happening. Money Talks with Michael Campbell.
Yeah. My favorite is shower thoughts. Stuff like that would be great.
Anything. Talk about how you really liked the reflection out of the podcast.
What's his secret podcast? They'll never tell us.
Okay. There wasn't really a question there. But that's it.
That's it.
If you would like to write into us, you can do so. Reddit podcast, readit podcast @gmail.com. You can also reach us at Facebook, Twitter, and our subreddit. They're all readit podcast. I'm sorry. I'm still laughing at the fact that I opened the wrong game. We'd also appreciate it if you subscribe to our podcast, but rated Money Talks podcast. And
now Nelson, I've got the D20 here.
Okay.
I'm going to roll one last roll.
Okay.
And if we land a natural 20, this is our best episode yet.
Oh.
And if we land anything below, it's just another one.
It's just
they're all about the
one
same,
in the
aren't they?
bank. All right.
Ready? I'm going to do it on the wood because it's a bit louder. Good for audio.
Okay. Oh, it was an 18.
All right, get out of here.
Thanks for listening, and we will read you later.